So if you're driving down the road and you see sparks flying out of the back of your car, you'd think, oh no, I need to stop, there's a problem here. But something you see during Grand Prix quite a bit these days in Formula 1 is sparks flying out the back of cars. Now you might think, oh, why is that? Why does that happen? Well, it's by design, believe it or not. It is no accident at all. It's meant to happen, and to be honest, it's quite safe for the most part. But let me explain what that all means. Why do sparks come out of the back of Formula 1 cars? Well, the simple answer is the F1 cars generate sparks due to a titanium skid block that's embedded into the legality plank on the underside of the vehicle. The legality plank is effectively a piece of wood that determines how low your car is running. If the plank is worn down too much at the end of a Grand Prix, you will be disqualified. Just ask Charles Leclerc and Sir Lewis Hamilton last season at the 2023 United States Grand Prix. They both got thrown out for that. And that's not a new thing either, but because of that titanium skid block that's been introduced for the last 10 seasons? It's been around for a little while now. The sparks these days in Formula 1 cars are a lot more prevalent than what they used to be. Basically, that skid block was introduced to improve the show, that classic phrase that was popularized by, I believe, Bernie Ecclestone back in the day. And in fairness, especially during night races, it really does show how cool these F1 cars are. It makes them look a lot more dramatic. But how does it do this? Well, the simple action is friction, especially on the circuits with uneven curbs or bumps, resulting in visible sparks as the titanium scrapes along the ground. High speeds also contribute this as well. So a high-speed track at night, for example, Qatar, for example, Las Vegas, Saudi Arabia as well for that matter, you'll see a lot more sparks at night during the day, although you do still see quite a few sparks in the day around high-speed tracks that are a bit bumpier. Think of Baku in Azerbaijan. Now, it's important to note that the titanium skid blocks were introduced deliberately in 2015. It wasn't bad with 10 years for a guess there, and that was done for aesthetic purposes, improving the show. The sparks had largely disappeared due to design changes from the 1990s, but the FIA decided to mandate the use of titanium to bring them back. As former FIA race director Charlie Whiting explained at the time, "We were keen to reintroduce them as they look spectacular, especially at night." But why do they spark? Well, when the F1 cars reach their incredible speeds of 180, 200, maybe 220 miles an hour around some tracks, the aerodynamic downforce increases proportionally with the speed, and that forces the F1 vehicle to get closer to the track surface. On top of that as well, you have things like porpoising as well. Not as prevalent as what it was a couple seasons ago, but again, that increases the instability of the car, meaning the skid blocks makes contact with the road more, which means you get some more sparks being thrown up as well, although probably breaking the likes of Hamilton and Alonso's backs, as they've complained at in the past, which is absolutely fair enough. I have no problem with them complaining about that. That was very legitimate. The phenomenon where is known as bottoming out, when the car actually hits the tarmac. It's at that moment when the car's floor kisses the tarmac that the titanium skid blocks makes contact with it, igniting a dazzling display of sparks that trail behind the car at high speed. Titanium skids were previously used in the 80s and 90s, which is why when you look at the pictures of the turbo cars, you'll probably see sparks flying out the back of them. And it's actually been used as a weapon before. Nigel Mansell, the 1992 world champion, has gone on record that he said he used to purposely drive over the bumps to generate as many sparks as possible for the car chasing behind and try and put them off. Part of what makes the sparks so prevalent these days, though, is the low ride height and stiff suspension of modern F1 cars as well. As Mercedes-AMG F1 technical chief Andrew Shovlin noted, the cars are running very close to the ground, and the stiff suspension means that any bumps or undulations in the track surface can cause the car to hit the ground, producing sparks. Charlie Whiting further explained as well, the plank is the long bit of wood, the skids are bits of metal within the plank. The skids have formerly been made of heavy metal, which has been very resistant to wear, and they put the skids around the points in the plank where the thickness is measured. Planks have to start off at a nominally 10mm thick, and they can't be less than 9mm thick by the end of the race. However, we only measure them around certain holes in the plank, so the position of the skids is around those holes. This metal is extremely heavy, and when pieces detach, it can be extremely harmful. We saw 2 punctures in Spa previously because of bits of this metal laying in the curb and causing damage. In a worst case scenario, they could fly off and hit somebody. The purpose of making them out of titanium is threefold: Firstly, it's safer because if they do come off, it's about a third of the weight of the existing ones. Secondly, the titanium wears some 2 to 2.5 times more quickly than the metal currently used. Thus, the car will have to be run a little bit higher to manage the wear, and teams won't be able to drag them on the ground quite as much as they have in the past. And the third is that you will see a lot more sparks, which some people look a little more spectacular. They do, I agree with Charlie on that one. The titanium skid blocks are mounted on the rear crash structure of the car, positioned behind the gearbox. Former Ferrari team principal Mattia Binotto shed light on this, stating the skid blocks are strategically placed to protect the car's floor and diffuser, while also creating the sparks that have become iconic in modern F1. So there you go, guys. Like I said, full article over on the F1Chronicle.com, as always, going into far more detail than I can in this 5-minute or so video. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that. What do you think about the sparks, guys? Would you like to see more of them? Would you like to see F1 kind of double down, triple down on that really, and go for even more? I think right now it's absolutely perfect. I do like them. I do think it adds to the show and the drama overall for sure. But I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell as well. Hope you had a lovely Christmas. Have a great new year, and we'll see you soon. Have a good one, guys.